Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of the Marketers for Movers podcast. I'm your host, Theo, and AI is the hot topic this year. And I think we all understand that it's having an impact on how we do business as movers, but we may not understand exactly how. This is what we're going to be getting into the heart of in this week's episode with head of AI lead generation at Marketers for Movers, Max Krentz. Welcome to the show, Max.
Hi, Theo. Thanks for having me.
Max is a relatively new addition to the team here, but the importance of what he does cannot be understated. SEO has been our specialty here at Marketers for Movers for decades, but the advent of AI and answer engine optimization, or AEO, really changed the game. This year, AI is expected to contribute $112 billion in retail sales across industries. And you'd better believe moving and storage is going to be a big part of that grand total. Max has been helping to direct our AI strategy here for our clients. And in just the past few months alone, we've seen sales from sources like ChatGPT and Google Gemini increase dramatically. I've been getting hit personally with so many questions from clients and people on social media asking how or if they need to adjust their marketing efforts for their moving company to take advantage of AI. So I've been really looking forward to having the opportunity to sit down with you and get your thoughts. Starting with the question, and this is the most valuable question. I think this is what everyone has on their mind. Is there really value in being cited by large language models like ChatGPT, like Google Gemini at all?
Yes, 100%. Yes, of course there is. So we're still trying to figure out what it means to be involved with the AI models, with large language models. We're still trying to figure out the whole process of how they create their citations and how they make their recommendations. And that's something industry-wide that we're all trying to grapple with as digital marketers across the globe are trying to figure out. The biggest key points that I could say are, it seems as if SEO is still the foundation for everything. So good SEO is necessary in order to be cited by those large language models in the first place.
I see.
They won't recognize a random website, just as you wouldn't recognize an off-brand in a store. You're going to go for a name brand because you know it and you trust it. And large language models primarily do the same thing when they make their recommendations. They're going to gather up as much information as possible on your business that's available, and they're going to make the most credible and verifiable recommendation that they can do.
I see. So the value here is really when people are having a conversation, if your name comes up in that conversation, you're seeing that people are more likely to choose or move or get a quote with companies that are higher recommended in large language models. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. They're essentially a warm lead for your company. And when we're talking about service industries specifically, like moving companies as they are, people are asking very specific questions of these AI models. So they're already looking for a certain response. By the time the AI model gives a recommendation, that has already done part of your sales job for you.
Wow. So when you've been looking at the data, when you've been looking at the stats, when there's a referral from ChatGPT, I don't think that there is direct tracking on Gemini referrals yet. But when you see someone come from ChatGPT, do they tend to have a higher likelihood of completing a form or reaching out?
Yeah, absolutely. And there is some data to support these findings so far. It's still, in many ways, the Wild West. We're trying to figure out how these LLMs track all of their data and pass it along to us. Some of them are starting to get wise to the fact that they can sell space to advertisers and they need to have transparency with that. But many of them just haven't figured it out yet on how to track it. There was a recent 13-month survey done by SEMrush that concluded that large language models as a whole actually convert at an 18% rate for everything, which is significantly higher than the standard for organic search.
I see. Yeah.
So, for example, Google organic search typically converts at a rate of 1.76%.
Wow, that's massive.
Yeah.
So you kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, But I just want to kind of dig a little deeper into this. Do you still see traditional SEO, traditional search, 10 blue links on Google? Does that still matter, or do people need to be going kind of all in with AEO and AI?
So I know the knee-jerk reaction right now is to try to keep up with technology so you don't feel left behind. And in that way, a lot of people are trying to jump on the AEO bandwagon full force, both feet, and try to get ahead of the competition to the best of their ability.
Yeah.
And in some ways, unfortunately, they may be sacrificing the necessary pillars in order to be cited by these LLMs in the first place. You still need to have good SEO. As I said at the beginning, that's still the foundation for everything. The more we're learning about how large language models operate, the more we're starting to understand that they treat authority as paramount. So your website needs to have authority first. You need to have solid structure. You need to be able to be cited by multiple sources as a verifiable truth source for whatever service you're providing. And you need to have very basic information across the board. You need to have the same name, address, phone that we've always talked about in SEO. We call it NAP. It's got to be the same across every citation that's out there. So everywhere your brand is represented, is it represented in the same voice?
I see.
That's what they're looking for.
Are more people adopting AI, or is that still kind of in the future or growing?
It's definitely growing more than anything else. Google still has 18 billion searches a day. And from what we know of AI, specifically ChatGPT has 1 billion a day, which is a significant number, certainly. But there's no evidence to suggest that they're able to, that every one of those queries put into ChatGPT are a citable, searchable thing like you would have in Google.
I see.
The intent is different of their use of the application. So there's really no way to judge how people are searching in those LLMs just yet. So Google is still king.
So next I want to ask you, how does working to appear in AI chatbot citations differ from working to rank higher in traditional search results?
So AI chatbot citations are all based on authority. That's number one. So AIs are going to look at outside sources for your brand management, essentially. They're looking to see that, they're trying to see from the community directly what your reputation is what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So outside sources like MoveAdvisor, like Yelp, like Angie are all things that AI crawlers will search to look for your business. So being able to appear across different platforms is one of the most valuable ways to get associated with AI search.
And then that's different from Google, because what are they looking at that's different?
Google is primarily looking at first their own sources. They're going to use the Google Business Profile as one of their key touchstones. And the more information you have on there, the more likely they are to cite you and source you and put you higher in the search results. And they're also looking for keywords. They're trying to make sure keyword comparison is accurate. So if you search for a certain search term like long distance movers, they're going to find long distance movers near you and put those in a ranking on the search results. And that's how you appear.
Right. So there are so many different large language models out there right now. There's ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. For the moving industry in specific, which one of those do you think is the most important for driving business to moving companies? Are they all at the same level of importance, or is there one that you see kind of rises above the rest?
So they do tend to have different intents that we're finding out. And right now, ChatGPT, in terms of commercial intent, seems to be the biggest one. The most users, it still has the highest user base, and they tend to have the most conversion data available, which is also coincidentally part of why they're probably the first to really monetize their platform with advertising, because they have the ability to show how many people are converting through them. Perplexity is usually number 2 for commercial intent, and then Claude, then Gemini down at the bottom.
Oh, wow. So Google's not actually doing as good of a job sending business opportunities to people. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Interesting. Because traditionally we've had such a big focus on Google, but for AI at least, you see the focus should be really more on ChatGPT.
For now, yes, ChatGPT is definitely the most prevalent source of commercial conversions.
I see. Does strategy for getting into ChatGPT differ significantly than for Claude or Gemini?
So the biggest way that it differs is trying to learn what citations each LLM is going to check. And that's one of the biggest struggles that digital marketers have in the industry right now, is trying to know what that data is. They're being very protective of their process right now, but it's starting to become more and more open in the world of digital marketing. ChatGPT, for example, tends to cite Bing more often than Google as a source, and Yelp. Those tend to be the top two cited sources for ChatGPT results.
Interesting. So we've talked a lot about how you get into large language models, how you get mentioned. I want to ask you, attribution is so important for coming up with marketing budget, going to leadership and telling them, I need X amount of dollars for SEO or AEO, but you need to make a case for that. How do you, or how would anybody go about tracing, the path from LLM to moving company website to filling out a form to job completion?
So that's one of the hardest things right now to track. And that's what we're all trying to figure out. There are some companies that are starting to become more transparent with how their tracking is done, and including that information into tracking tools that we already use, like SEMrush. So for example, ChatGPT and Perplexity both feed into SEMrush at this point. So we can know for direct links how someone got to one of our websites, one of the movers' websites that we represent, with tracking data that we've established. Google Analytics is a way to do that too.
I see.
So those sites both feed into Google Analytics, and they can track the process using that. The easiest way, though, is just going to be to add an extra form fill on your contact page when people are filling out a form. How did you hear about us?
Basically, just directly ask them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I see.
That's going to be the easiest way to do it, because sometimes people might get the result that they're looking for, the answer to the query that they want from their LLM. If I type into ChatGPT, what's the best moving company near me? And it gives me a list of recommendations. I might then Google the name of that company and go directly from the Google link, as opposed to clicking from the chat window with ChatGPT. So it's really hard to know.
Yeah, interesting. You can see how that'd be really challenging, because if someone did that example that you're talking about, they find a name in ChatGPT and then they search them on Google. In your analytics, it's going to attribute that to organic search.
Correct.
But really, they found you on ChatGPT.
Right.
So it's really complicated. And hopefully tools get better, or get to a point where we can track this a little bit better. But you mentioned earlier that conversion from large language models is trends higher. So even if you're not able to exactly trace that path from large language model to your website, the value that you're getting is still definitely there from the work that you did to appear in ChatGPT or Gemini.
Absolutely.
So this is the last question I want to ask you today. And this one is the one that kind of gives people a place to start. If they've listened to this episode and now they want to know, like, okay, well, what's my next step? What are the top 3 things someone can start doing today to improve their chances of appearing as a citation in an LLM conversation?
That's the big question.
Yep.
Yeah, so the very first thing you can do is make sure that your website has good, solid fundamentals. No one will recognize you as a leader in your industry if you have a mismanaged website with poor linking structure, slow load times, incorrect information across pages. So the best thing to do and the best place to start is at home in your home website.
I see.
Number two is to start looking out to the citations that you already have out there available on the web. And those are places like Yelp, like we already discussed, Move Advisor, things where you can actually have some element of control over the information that's on there. So check your local entities where you've already established yourself and verify that that information is the same that is on your website and your Google business profile, so that everything is the same across the board.
Right.
And third, one of the biggest things that the LLMs are looking at right now is reputation management, how you're appearing across different pages. And one of the best ways you can promote yourself online is to go out for local awards that you can find. So, for example, there might be a best of your city, a local voice where the people in your community vote on who the top businesses are in the area. And especially for service-based businesses like moving companies, you need the support of your community in order to keep you boosted up.
Interesting.
Sites like Nextdoor have nationwide best of voting that happens every single year. So that's another good, valuable resource for citations. And they're out there. You just have to go and find them.
I see. Well, that last point is interesting too, because winning local awards like that, if that kind of goes even beyond large language models, that's a way to kind of grassroots grow your brand locally. So it seems like it's possible, like a lot of the work that you do to appear in large language models can actually help you get business outside of that context as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, brand management is one of the biggest parts. So the more people know about you and the more people can find you and the more people trust you, the more likely they are to do business with you.
Yeah, I mean, you put it perfectly and simply right there. That was great. Thank you very much for your time. I know you're a busy man. I appreciate you coming on the show. If anyone watching this has questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll pass them over to Max to get answers. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and join our Facebook group. Like and subscribe the video. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Marketers for Movers podcast.
Thanks, Theo.
Thank you, Max.